Welcome to Think Big for Africa podcast. On this podcast, we will bring you interesting conversations with local, national, and international African leaders from all walks of life, home and abroad. Leaders who are doing their bits to progress Africa's development. Conversation topics will range from education, science, health, leadership, politics, business, and many other global issues. Conversations about everything that concerns Africa's development. Africa has so many wonderful achievers worldwide, and this is exactly what we will bring to you on Think Big for Africa podcast. Stay tuned.
Hello, welcome to the Think Big for Africa podcast. This is Ekene Banye. Today, I have a very interesting young man. He's doing something that is not very common in Africa. The Africa I knew, I guess Africa is different. That's why I got him here to explain exactly what he's doing. He's the chairman of Robotics Centre Nigeria Limited. His name is Anthony Amodu. Anthony, how are you?
Hello, Ekene. Fine, thank you.
Yeah. See, like I said, what you're doing right now, to me it seems unusual, okay? Because when I was in Nigeria some years ago, we were not into robotics, And when I saw your posts on LinkedIn and the robotic fights of the kids, I was amazed. I said, "Wow, what's going on here?" So let's start the normal way I start. I would like you to introduce yourself and tell my audience who you are and what you do. All right.
All right. Thank you again for having me on your what I would call your exemplary leadership podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
My name is Anthony Amodu. I'm a business management and strategy expert.
Okay.
I've got 2 decades plus under my belt, working experience in technology, energy, and financial services.
All right.
Currently, I chair the Robotics Centre in Nigeria, and this is an organization that is driven by its vision to lead the tech transformation in Africa.
Very good, very good. See, like you mentioned, you have 2 decades of experience in so many areas, technology and financial institutions. I know you were a former employee of the same bank where I started my career, Citibank. So the question I have for you is this: what drove you from banking into robotics? What's the story?
Thank you, Ekene. Well, the story is all about opportunity. And if you'll permit me, I can expand.
Yeah, right. Go ahead.
So, as you know, we are both ex-old boys of a great institution, by the way.
Yeah.
Citibank is indeed a very, very great place to have a career experience in, because it broadens your horizon. That being said, having served my time there, and made my contributions, I got to a point where I felt there was more that I could give to my country, to the next generation, more importantly. And I felt that urge stronger and stronger. And at some point, I decided to make a move and follow my own passion. I've always been involved in social causes. I've always been particularly interested in development and capacity building for youths. And I've been involved in different programs and initiatives. And when I left Citibank, I focused on that aspect, which had suffered a lack of attention from my part.
Okay.
And in doing so, I got involved with some NGOs and some other foundations who were involved in helping kids, building kids, and one thing leading to another. Eventually, I stumbled upon an opportunity to make an impact from a technology training perspective, working with a Lagos State public school. And that experience transformed my thinking about what exactly was the challenge for our next generation. And if indeed we are supposed to grow the next generation to be ready for the future that is already here, then there was clearly a gap. And having completed that training with those kids, seeing their ability to assimilate the knowledge, apply it, and actually implement it by building their website for their school was the first thing that triggered my thinking. Fast forward a year later, and a few ups and downs, we came up with this robotics center as an opportunity to create the right environment where we can now begin to intentionally nurture and build up creative talent that can now begin to position themselves to use technology to solve problems.
That's very, very good.
This is a social capital investment for us. And I say us because this is not a singular effort. However, we are indeed privileged to have this opportunity to make a difference, and we do not take it lightly.
Very good, very good. See, I see this. I say to myself, with the progress of artificial intelligence and robotics in the rest of the world, if Africa does not do something drastic, with robotics and AI, we'll see ourselves backward, So the industrial nations of the world, the US, Europe, Japan, China, are running so many of their automation with AI and robotics. The question is this: where is Nigeria? Where is Africa in this space of AI and robotics? I know you are doing something. I'm asking, is the country, is the continent doing something in this space?
Okay. To answer that question, let me first even address the fact that Africa in general has had a funny relationship with technology. I am not exact on the statistics, but in general, I can tell you that when we look at a sector like telecoms, we practically leapfrogged from analog to digital.
Yeah.
And we had less than 5% coverage. And all of a sudden, almost 1 in 5 adults, or at least 1 in 10, has some form of cell phone to communicate with.
Yeah.
The challenge of our ability to benefit from the technology, it comes now because of a lack of knowledge of how the technology works.
Oh, yeah.
And all the other value benefits that can be tapped out of it.
Yeah.
Africa is largely seen as a marketplace.
Yes.
And unfortunately, we will remain so unless if we begin to improve.
Oh my God.
We begin to improve and apply ourselves in a way and manner that we can now tap this technology.
Okay,
now,
finish. Mm-hmm.
Now,
go on.
When we were younger and we studied engineering and we came out of school, one of the challenges we had was we were told when we were trying to apply into the then industry of oil and gas.
Yeah.
was that we didn't have the experiential knowledge or the practical knowledge of being able to apply the theories we had in our heads. And we were either redirected to certain institutions to get retooled, or we were told we had to work subservient under foreign nationals who had this experience. Well, here we are again. The signs are all over, and we're heading into another industrial revolution.
Yeah.
And what is going to happen if nothing is done is Africa is now going to, again, suffer for a death of the right people. And this is what we are primarily trying to also at least avoid or begin to at least reduce that gap, so that we will also be able to benefit from the proceeds of technology.
Yeah. See, you said something. Africa is a marketplace. Okay.
Correct.
So
that's good.
We do everything we do to earn money, and then we see, because this era runs primarily on technology. So we spend everything we do, we earn money, and we dash it to the technology companies, which I don't, okay, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. There is none of these companies are African. Okay. You say the phone companies, okay, the mobile carriers are some of them are Africans, okay, but the manufacturers of the technology are not Africans.
Absolutely.
So a lot of the money we spend in Africa in on phones are either handset or the mask that houses and transmits the calls and text. The money goes to China, Europe, America. Right. So my question is this: when will we get our act together to see that until we build capacity in our youth to understand the fundamentals of this technology, which is physics? Okay, so see, anybody can pick up some technology and how it works and do it, okay, in a little without knowing much about physics. But we cannot build a sustainable technology in Africa without understanding the fundamentals of physics. So when are we going to, what are we doing in our secondary schools to teach our kids basic science? I don't know.
I mean, if I may contribute to that thought.
Yeah, go on.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the schools now in the last 3 years,
okay,
have placed a lot of emphasis on STEM learning. That is science, technology, engineering, and maths.
Okay.
And I believe that physics falls into that category.
Okay.
Now, that focus has been supported by initiatives from both the federal government, the UNICEF, and relevant UN entities that have been driving that. I am aware of projects that have even been done at state government levels and federal government levels. I'm even privy to, because we have been approached by one of such firms that are working with the federal Ministry of Education to discuss the potential of rolling out robotics trainings as they are revamping the various technical colleges.
Okay.
Now, so I know there's this effort coming, driven, of course, by World Bank and other initiatives in conjunction with the federal government. But of course, these are progress reports.
Yeah.
And albeit they are moving slowly, of course, because government is not exactly at the fastest when it comes to implementing most of these policy directives.
Yeah.
But at least they are working in that direction. They've accepted that. And if you look at the educational scope that we have, some states have taken the initiative, like Lagos State, Ogun State, to also drive the learning and the focus on STEM. And in fact,
sorry, Anthony.
Yeah.
STEM. Can you tell me what the acronym stands for?
Yeah, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
Okay. All right. So
I mean, physics falls into that category.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so there's been a lot more emphasis, especially in the last 3 years, particularly even despite the pandemic, even in the last year, they're on building capacity in schools to deliver these STEM objectives.
Well, if that is the case, that's good. But I hope it's not it not become a technology-driven initiative. Because like I said, the basis of everything is basic science, math, physics, chemistry, biology. That is the basics of everything. Until we have a lot of people studying these things, not only in secondary school, but at university. In my time, people who study math, physics, chemistry, biology, microbiology, most of the time are people who wanted to study engineering or medicine and didn't get into those courses. And then they now decide to take science. Unfortunately, well, I'm learning things. Okay, in the last 10 years, I've discovered, oh my God, we missed it. The basics of everything is the basic science. And our country, we don't appreciate that this should be the focus. Because if we don't have enough people studying the basic science, okay, being interested in studying basic science, we will never have people who are actually going to do the research. And I mean, look at, we have a pandemic, okay? A lot of people in Africa are saying they won't take the vaccine because they don't know what is in it, this, that. Why are we relying on the West, China, India to produce our vaccines? That's because we don't have enough scientists in Africa. So that's my take. We need to focus on doing basic science.
I mean, to support what you're saying, there is a need for it, but it's not even also done in isolation. Remember that we are in a society that over time, we were always directed to study certain professions because they were supposedly guaranteed success in career.
Mm-hmm.
And this trickled down to even the next generation and our generation in directing our kids.
Yeah.
I can imagine some parents today who will hear their son or daughter say she or he wants to be a physicist.
Mm-hmm.
You might end up with a whooping of a lifetime.
Exactly.
But in hindsight, if you walk into the National Agency for the NASA, for instance, you're going to see a bunch of those guys.
See, they're the most cherished people. People who study maths and physics are the most cherished people in science.
Exactly. And also, I mean, to be fair, we can't take it away because the society also has allowed certain professions to be degraded over others.
Yeah.
I went to give a talk at a school recently on robotics and the future. And they were curious to talk about other things about life. And so I indulged them.
Very good.
And when we spoke about we now ended up talking about careers because these were a graduating class.
Yeah.
And when I mentioned if any of them, wanted to be a teacher, let's just say I got some very dramatic responses that were not positive. Even though they were sitting right next to some of their teachers. And so what you find is that the economic pressure, the status pressure, and the limited funding, perhaps, that goes into the quote unquote, non-considered viable sectors, has led to a death of these people, of even new talent coming in. And like you said, they are considered a reject. Who, if you study any of these things, so even those who genuinely were in such classes, for the new knowledge, they are almost under a lot of pressure, because there are people who address them feel you probably wanted to study something else, and this was just a second coming. And this mindset, and is not in the air. This is coming from a place where the society has driven such thinking. They've encouraged it. The society today encourages people to direct their kids to where the financial benefits are. Now, fortunately and unfortunately, I would like to just throw in this point. We've seen some good initiatives come out of Africa and Nigeria too, regarding the financial technology solutions. Everybody is aware of the Paystack, Flutterwave, and there are a host of others too that are all coming up with, a very interesting technology ideas. But 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when these guys started, I can almost bet you that they had challenges too. Getting even support, getting people to believe in the opportunity that they were seeing ahead. And these guys are homegrown talent. Today, we are at that course again, where some of us have seen that the wind of change has come. And really, it is no longer even about just understanding technology. It is what can you do with the technology. And it is now, how do you use that technology to make your life and the life of others better? And then ultimately, you begin to reap the rewards. But this process, like you said, has to have a pattern. And we have to build the capacity from ground up. Otherwise, we will just end up again being consumers.
And this is what I want. This is what I want. What concerns me. This is what concerns me. You see, in the West, for example, the basis has been done, from the 18th century towards the 20th century, the basics has been done.
Correct.
Now the market forces determine what the kids in school will go on and study.
That's true.
Because the basics, the fundamentals have been done.
That's correct.
For us in Africa, the fundamentals have not been done. You see, that's what scares me. The fundamentals have not been done. So if we allow the, in quote, the market to determine everything, we will be in a big hole. Because if the fundamentals are not being done in the science space, then we will always be a market bias. We just buy. We will never be in a position to produce, to determine what we want to produce, and we buy anything the West or China gives us. So my question is this. Let me ask you a question. You comment on. The question is, do we have the right policies to drive our educational institutions to focus more on the subjects, the fundamental subjects, maths, basic science? Because see, engineering is a, to me, it's secondary.
Correct.
Engineering, technology is secondary.
Correct.
Medicine are all secondary when it comes to science.
Correct.
The basics, maths, physics, chemistry, biology. What are we doing in this space?
So this is a very, very, interesting question you've asked.
Yeah.
And now, are there policies in place to drive the educational sectors, institutions? Yes, there are. There are policies.
That's good.
That exist that are promoting the teaching of science, the teaching of mathematics. Now, is the execution and the impact commensurate to the volume that we are turning out?
Okay.
Well, this is now a challenge of a number of factors, ranging from infrastructure to availability of the right teachers and also the availability of even the students themselves, because in certain areas of Africa, not peculiar to Nigeria alone, you've got cases where you have children street hawking, to those being denied because of religious beliefs, and because I am a firm believer in gender equality.
Yeah,
I am driven by that passion, and I found out in my experience in this field that women and men are just as equally capable.
Yeah.
In applying themselves.
Yes.
So we find out that the policies are in place.
Okay.
The execution might be poor because, again, even in the budgetary allocations, you see that less is given towards education.
See, that's the question. See, when you say the policies are in place, how do you demonstrate it? How much you allocate to it? See,
so there's a poor demonstration.
Writing a policy, writing a fantastic policy, okay, and then you don't fund it. What are you doing?
So the private institutions, both secondary schools and private schools, are taking up those policies and guidance, and of course doing their best to provide these things, but they are all done at a commercial nature.
See,
and therefore you cannot build a nation that way, because this is only going to be available to a small group.
A few, that's it.
And this small group are not going to always want to be in the field of science.
Yes.
So you're also, that makes it even a smaller group of a small group.
Exactly.
And when you look at the size of our nation and the role we play in Africa and the role we should be playing in Africa,
yeah,
we are not building up the right capacity to continue in our leadership role, because we should lead across board. We have got the talents, and we actually have the resources, only that it is not appropriately distributed.
Yeah.
And even the policies that can encourage it are not given. For instance, encouragement should be given to companies that are quote unquote involved in manufacturing processes.
Yeah.
Or some engineering production, either by oil and gas, telecoms, whatever area where there is science and technology involved in your field.
Yes.
To give money to research, to give money to support causes that can be rewarded in tax relief.
Yeah.
That can be rewarded in all kinds of incentives that government can create for them. While government cannot create funds for everything, but they can create value by giving certain incentives to certain organizations who provide this kind of support, and then you will see a communal growth. Now, it will be so unjust for me to say this, but I will mention that even us in our own small capacity, at the center, at the Robotics Centre, we have adopted 2 schools that we have been training their students in robotics. And we're talking about public schools. Public schools within our community zone that we are training and giving free robotics training to them, so that we are also trying to lead by the cause we plead. Good. That this is indeed the way if that to go. If we well, I mean, I hate to abuse the word, but a startup that is driving this, as a small startup trying to make a difference. Imagine if we now have the arsenal of government policies driving us, and government taking advantage of these institutions that have been making a lot of money over time and enjoying the marketplace and not contributing anything to the developmental goals of governments and objectives of building science and technology talents out of their schools. Yeah. I don't want to mention any because I don't know who your sponsors are, but there are companies that are professional marketing companies, and all they do is package. They are packaging companies. Yeah. They just package. And when they package, if you hear the turnover and the profits they declare, one should make them, such companies should be levied to contribute to the
science and technology in secondary schools.
In schools, they should be given all kinds of moral suasion, nudges, incentives in any form in which it comes to encourage them. Their advertising budgets, Ekene, the advertising budgets alone. Yeah. Even if they give us, I mean, when I say us now, I mean those who are driving this developmental goal. I don't mean Robotics Centre in particular. If they give this to the people who have the passion for this growth and these initiatives and put in their professional controls and conditions around it, they will be able to make effective change. No matter how small, it will be progress. And if this continues, we will see the difference in a decade's time. And many of these organizations have been here for several decades. We grew up with some of them.
Yeah. Yeah. See, Anthony, you are very right. And see, this is what I do. This is Think Big for Africa podcast. Okay. And what I want to do is to sensitize people to think about Africa's development. Okay. We need to develop Africa. We need to develop the study. We need to promote the study of basic science in secondary schools. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, like you said, what I see happening, okay, I'm diverting to education, for example. What I see in education is that, unfortunately, let's use our country because that's where we know more. In Africa, in Nigeria, there's now so many private secondary schools, so many. And many of the middle class send their children to private secondary schools in Nigeria. Okay, and the difference with in the past grades in public schools and private schools are very, very different. Like I said, how can we build the capacity we need in our country when our public secondary schools are not working? I went to a public school, primary school, secondary school, university.
Likewise.
Yes, I know. Okay, I now realize that there were a few things I didn't learn in my time, but the basic thing is that I got the ability to think, and see, that's it. The ability to think. See, I see many young people out of universities in Nigeria, and we can't discuss anything meaningful, and it pains me. See, when I came out from university, I can discuss anything. I don't need to know all the details of the matter, but I know how to engage somebody in a discussion, asking questions. Now I see a lot of young people who finish university, public university in Nigeria. They can't discuss anything. This is the downfall of bad policies and implementation. What's your take?
So your observations are, they are quite spot on.
Hold on, your speaker is not very clear.
Is it better now?
Yes, better now. Yes.
Okay. So your observations are spot on. Yes, it is. There is. So you have to look at it in context of a lot of factors. I'm not going to say when we were in school because I'm still young at heart. I don't know about you. But when we were back in the days, before the social media revolution came, era came, we didn't have these distractions. If you had to see somebody, you have to literally walk to the hall and pray, and it wasn't even considered something strange to go ahead to the person's house. Before, you don't call ahead. You just go there and you find out if the person is in his room, right? And what seemed absolutely normal to back then, today, if you show up at my office and I'm not there, the first thing I'll say is, well, why didn't you call me? Right? Or send me a message. I would have told you I'm not there. But in the olden days, I remember, when you're seeing someone off, it's always a tango. So I escort you back to your house. And you escort me back to your house. And then you have to meet somewhere in the middle. And now, one would have hoped that with the technology access, we will be able to access better information systems. We were limited to the libraries we had physically. Today, they've got a host of virtual information
Is there
access that is there. But unfortunately, the path to those access involves getting onto a platform that also creates distraction. And when not well regulated, these platforms totally take people away from their core focus.
Yeah.
And so what you have today is that the people that are able to have conversations that are cerebral are limited because they have not, what you have not practiced, you do not know how to do perfectly.
Yeah.
So they have found themselves depending on a fast life, fast news, current event, knee-jerk reaction type of situations. You know, following what is quote unquote trending and not paying attention to deep thoughts and contemplations, which has always been the bedrock of any meaningful development or change that has come across.
Absolutely.
Now, the challenge is, even in some countries today, like in China, I am aware that they have started limiting time that children spend on things like games and, you know, internet activities, because they're beginning to see that this thing is having an effect,
a negative effect on their creative abilities.
Yeah. I am aware that in Silicon Valley, the home of most of these beautiful tools, they have special schools where where kids are taken to for those who can afford them, and they are totally controlled on the time they're allowed to spend on social media and other distractive devices.
In fact, many people who work in Silicon Valley do not allow their kids to go on social media. Many.
And now, private. I remember. Look, before I joined City, I was at Oando.
Okay.
And I was the group manager for strategy. Now, one of the things we noticed with our people performance was that as soon as Facebook was operationally accessible, we actually noticed a steep decline in performance of our staff because during the day and during the working hours, because they have access to the internet, of course, as part of their work tool, they are spending more time on Facebook. So we have to disable Facebook and similar social media distracting apps from being able to accessing it through their systems. So that if they have to access it, they have to do it on their own private equipment, which wasn't at that point very, very strong and very, very accessible.
In those days,
But you can imagine that an organization had to take that step. Why? Because we still wanted to provide the opportunity for research and other benefits that the internet had to offer.
Yes.
If you fast forward today, this is the same challenge now that is happening in institutions and among our youths. Now, if the government tries to do any intervention in this regard, they will say we are becoming a dictatorship or we are becoming an autocratic state. Unfortunately, the government's hands are tied because there are benefits for those who can effectively harness it.
Well, see, for kids, so is a parent who have the right to control how much they go online. Okay.
On that note, may I just come in if you don't mind? On that note, I am aware of parents that are just as distracted, if not more.
You are very correct.
I don't know how it is for you over there.
No,
but
you are
we
very
have
correct.
We have people driving and trying to check their Facebook.
Whoa.
On an iPad, and they are behind a steering wheel. I have seen this not once.
Well,
in
this country, in the UK, you cannot touch your phone while driving. That was a law that was passed about 2 years ago. You can't even touch it. We
have the same law here. We have the same law. LASMA is helping Lagos State generate revenue because people keep touching it. But again, there's only so many of them. Yes. And of course, they can't man every corner. Hopefully, with advancement in technology, there will be better ways to monitor these things as we build up solutions. But ultimately, the truth is, even now, the private schools that you're talking about, it's not even just in Lagos anymore. I'm aware of people who are now even sending their kids to private schools, private secondary schools in other countries across the Atlantic Ocean.
So there we are. So let's dive back to robotics. Yeah, it's been very interesting conversation. So
yes,
what is your ultimate goal in encouraging and teaching robotics in Africa? What's your ultimate goal?
See, my ultimate goal, well, I would rather say our ultimate goal, because the Robotics Centre is us, it's a collaboration.
Yes.
Our ultimate goal is to build up a large pool of talent that are able to think creatively, apply the knowledge that they have learned, and begin to address the challenges that will become opportunities in solving these problems and enhancing processes that will also benefit us in Africa.
Good. So, yes, you have been doing this for some years now. What have been your biggest challenges?
Well, Ekene, am I allowed to go pigeon here on your show?
You're free.
They say the palaver know the end.
Yeah.
We continue. There is a continuum of challenges. Always.
Yeah.
But I guess the more pronounced ones is or are infrastructure.
Okay.
Because access to infrastructure, basic infrastructure of power, telecommunications, are the key things to being able to even begin to harness harness the knowledge available.
Yeah.
Because you can easily make more impact by making resources available to people. And the way that is done today is using technology mediums. And without power, without the right data providers working effectively, this becomes a challenge.
Yes.
Now, of course, this into the availability of experts. What I found out is better. Okay. Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we have found out is
there's also of course, there is a shortage of available experts in the field.
Mm.
Now, on this note, let me say something as a sidebar.
Yeah.
There is teaching people or the young guys about robotics.
Yes.
There's teaching them about how to use robotics to solve problems.
Yeah.
Most of us get excited when we hear robotics because we just think of robots because of all these beautiful transformers and the rest of what.
Yeah.
But really, a robot is anything that can do a task.
Oh, yeah.
That is set to do and may not necessarily take the form of a humanoid.
Exactly.
And it's still doing the task, and therefore it's a robot.
Yeah.
That being said, what you have a number of my colleagues in the field who focus on creating excitement about the technology, but we sometimes fail to point these young kids and individuals in the direction of how to think creatively. What the challenge for us is even reorienting even those of us who are trying to, the crusaders in this field, to better prepare ourselves to give this right direction. And so we have a case where while there's infrastructure challenge, there is also a challenge in availability of knowledgeable instructors. There is also the challenge of acceptability of the role that robotics and AI can play in the near term. Because people tend to think of these things as in the distant future.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it has come to meet us now.
Yeah.
Today, even to place your adverts on Google, there are systems that are running algorithms that are using machine
learning,
deep learning, to do analysis on the best times, the best places, and even if you're in a particular location, the best locations to place certain types of advertisement. That's why today you have Google being and Facebook being the leading advertising companies over the traditional guys. Who now these challenges are also driven by the fact that we don't have clear policies that specifically address robotics and artificial intelligence in most of Africa. A few countries have introduced certain bills, like in Senegal and I think Tunisia. In Nigeria, we've gone one step with the data protection regulation. And that is laudable. Now we need to take it further. To create a bill that now can sustain the efforts that people like us at the Robotics Centre are making to institutionalize robotics training. We at the Robotics Centre, we built a curriculum that is detailed with content and across the whole, from primary to secondary school coverage. And we have also built post-secondary school curriculum. We also have curriculum for training other instructors who want to learn how to effectively train on robotics and AI. And these are things that we took the initiative on our own to do because we decided that we are going to teach and robotics because our mission, which is equipping these youths, has to be brought down to what we call brass and nickel. We must take to the kobo of the matter, which means we must be able to take somebody in GS1 and train them through GS1 to 2 to 3 to SS1 to 2 to 3. And at the end of the period, they have accumulated knowledge from basic robotics to an at least intermediate to advanced level.
You were talking to me about what you guys are doing in schools. Yeah, so go on.
Yes, so we've built a curriculum where we can deploy the robotics training in a simple, practical, demonstrable manner.
Yeah.
Emphasis on demonstrable because we teach the theory.
Yeah.
And then we begin to show, we demonstrate how that works in practical terms. And then we now tell you the applications. And at the end of a period of training, we task them, this young, intelligent, smart kids, with projects.
Yeah.
And what we try to do is to give them a trickle-down version of the bigger projects.
Yeah.
For example, we say do an automated water where flower pot, a watering system to water your flower pot that you can control when you are not available and you leave your apartment.
Okay.
And you want to ensure that your plants get watered.
Yeah.
Now, that seems pretty simple, right? Now, in terms of, well, I mean, I'm not talking about simple in the technology, but I'm saying
for us to do, yeah.
Yes, you can easily relate to that.
Yeah.
But that is the same fundamental basis for an irrigation system where you are talking about water conservation.
Yeah.
And you are managing natural resources, and you are trying to ensure effective or efficient use of the resources you have to achieve good agricultural harvests.
Very good. So what you're saying is that learning to do this simple task, okay, can be used exactly the same, maybe a little bit more complex to achieve a massive project in various areas.
Absolutely. It's
but
just
the algorithm is the same.
Fundamentally the same. Correct.
Yeah.
So the logic is the same.
Yeah.
It's just a more complex
one. Yeah.
More just the same way you talk about, medicine, engineering, it's all physics, science, biology, but it's just at more complicated levels.
Yeah.
So where you have fundamental understanding, then it becomes easier to build upon.
Yeah. Wow. This is very interesting, I'll tell you. So tell me, do you guys have collaboration partners in other African communities or other countries?
Well, we have collaboration partners at this point in time, not in Africa yet, because we are still building our capacity. However, we have been we've been approached by two partners in particular, a developmental agency,
okay,
that is focused on managing immigration resettlement across the borders,
okay,
and finding ways to create or to enable or to empower youths so that the need to migrate is reduced. And if you must migrate, you have some skill sets that you can use so that you're able to function in the society that you are going to.
Yeah. Okay.
With these guys, we've been able to do a training on empowerment, and we run out our first pilot phase, which was extremely successful.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm allowed to mention So
No,
I'm keeping the
you don't need to. But if you think if you
Exactly.
want to, yeah, you can go on.
Yeah, of course. So we, in this regard, we've worked with the German Development Corporations
Okay.
division that handles this empowerment called the GIZ.
Okay.
And we also have a collaboration with a Chinese firm
Okay.
called Popular Robotics, and they have a RoboCity product, which we today are their partners in Nigeria.
Okay.
And we have an event even coming up actually
Okay.
on Friday.
This Friday.
This Friday. And
okay.
we are going to be talking about the future of robotics in Africa.
Very good.
It's a virtual event, so we're going to have it online. So
yeah, please send me a link. Yeah, I would like to join.
I'm going to make sure you get the link. I'm going to make sure you get the link. So, and again, so these collaborations, this collaboration is to help us to be able to take advantage of the knowledge of countries like China that have advanced in robotics and AI, and see how we can replicate that, but custom it to suit our own society.
Yeah.
And also in the area of production, because one of the young innovators, as I like to call them, asked me that, sir, when we have created these prototypes and we have worked on something interesting like this, what next? How, I'm excited. I know there's nothing like this available that is made locally. How can I enter production?
Interesting.
Now, this is also the challenge of having a dream.
Yeah.
If you put a dream in the man's heart and the man begins to dream, you must be ready to support that dream. So one of the challenges we've had is we have now been creating some excitement, and now we are getting the excitement. We are beginning to see youths now, undergraduates, thinking and coming out with interesting ideas.
Yeah.
They need to be encouraged to at least develop their prototypes. They need to be given a chance to be able to test their ideas out.
Yeah.
And this is very important because this helps us avoid us having them, one, leave our continent for places that can encourage them, as we have seen so recently.
Yeah.
Right. And also to even help them keep their energies in a positive space.
Yes.
Rather than take these energies and go and begin to do things
something nobody wants.
Bring us more negative.
Yeah.
Credibility, negative credits in the international space.
Yeah.
I mean, on a side note, I was having a conversation with an European chap, and he mentioned that people see Africa has not accepted, is still behind the technology, that he begs to differ. That we embrace technology faster than any other continent, because some of the biggest negative activities have come from Africa. And he was trying to say, even in particular, our motherland. And I said, and he said that it is because they are able to embrace technology that they can now use it and apply it.
See,
and I thought about it, and I said, it is because they don't have any other outlets.
Well,
to expose their skill set.
Well, maybe so, but I see we embrace these technologies, but what we didn't, like I said many times, if these boys who are doing all those things actually understood the impact that they could have had doing other things with the same technology, but because they were not trained.
Correct.
So they only jumped in to use the technology. They didn't actually learn the fundamentals.
So back to the challenge is where and this is when we talk about appreciation.
Yeah.
Because if there was a proper appreciation of the technology and its benefits, then such events will not be rampant.
They will learn, they will discover so many things they can do with the same thing.
Benefit from.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Anthony, it's been very, very interesting to talk to you.
Likewise.
Yes, we're getting close to the back door. Okay. And this is what I ask all my guests.
All right.
I ask them, and I will ask you to look in the future, 20, 30 years from now.
Wow.
How do you see Nigeria, Africa embracing robotics, AI, and all the technology surrounding that? How do you see that in the next 20, 30 years?
You know, I would give a reasonable amount of value if I could just get a sneak peek myself.
well, you are trying to build it, okay? So what I'm asking is this: what are you going to build?
I understand what you're asking.
Mm-hmm,
I understand. I understand what you're asking.
Yeah.
I understand what you're asking. Let's say our hope is that in 20, 30 years, Africa, Nigeria inclusive now, would have advanced to a stage where we are now creating our own technology, applying our own technology to solve whatever those challenges that are now at that point in time dominant. And that Africa will be participating at the table with all the other leading countries.
Yeah.
And that there will be such significant growth in our entire ecosystem in Africa. Because as if the advancement goes as we hope, then we will see a transformation in our infrastructure.
Yeah.
Public transportation, health, education.
Yeah.
And overall, this will raise the standard of living.
Yes.
Because there will be a social economic impact. Why? Because now they might call it maybe don't mind it might not be called Facebook anymore, it might be called Brain Book.
Yeah.
And it will come from Africa. It will be a boy sitting in Nairobi or a young lady in Bayelsa that would have decided that this is what he or she is going to focus on and bring the next transformational solutions to the world. It will not be the world to Africa, but Africa to the world.
Thank you. Thank you. Go on, go on. I'm enjoying you.
So, in the areas of agriculture, we will be the road to self-sufficiency,
Yeah.
the road to food security. In 20 years' time, 30 years' time, automation, artificial intelligence, and robotics would have changed the game, and Africa would be self-sufficient. Because we have what is the most critical factor. We have the fertility in the soil.
Yeah.
We have the natural irrigation systems. We have manpower and a young growing population.
Yep.
What we need are tools that can harness these resources at the ultimate or the optimal efficiency levels.
Yeah.
And we can begin to enjoy the benefits. And in 20, 30 years' time, it is indeed my prayer that we would have mastered the art of creating these solutions, the art of creating technology-driven processes that will ensure that we harness efficiently the natural resources given to us, and we'll be able to achieve the level of growth and, of course, the level of resource generation and, of course, social economic status that Africa is, well, I believe once had, and we will indeed come back to.
Very, very, very good. Anthony, thank you very much. I've enjoyed this episode. I am looking forward to see what you guys are doing. I'm sure in the near future, something fantastic will come out of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Listen or watch more episodes of Think Big for Africa podcast with new guests every week. Subscribe to ensure that you are notified whenever new episodes are available.